Callie, does it feel like there's more ladies in land development than ever before?
It totally does.
Well, I'm Monica Onstead, and I've been a lady in land development for over 20 years.
I'm Callie Friedman. I've been a lady in land development for 3 years right now, and today on Smith Lane, we have possibly the most appropriate guest we could ever speak to, given that our company, On Place Collective, is 95% female. We are welcoming Erica Sinner. She is the founder and CEO of Ladies in Land. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I've been a lady in land for about 14 years or 15, something like that. It's getting
I love it. We didn't even tell her to say that.
I know,
She picked up on our intro and she added that in herself.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we love it.
You know, when I first started in this industry, I really worked entirely almost with men. The women were really only in sales and marketing. Maybe they were in the accounting department. I didn't really see certainly a lot of women sitting at the leadership table. And so we know that there's always been women in this industry, but your organization really is now helping women come forward and taking their seat at the table, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Like you said, I mostly worked with men. I've seen more women in the last probably 4 or 5 years in networking groups. When you go to these networking functions, I see a lot more women, but still a lot of men. And what we do is we emphasize the education and confidence and a leadership quality, so we can keep moving up. And that's a big feature for us. Not just networking, but really going out there and not being afraid to go into the room with the guys and say, hey, I want to be there. So yeah, I know it's the amount of women I'm seeing come out of the woodwork is fascinating. So it's really kind of a neat process that I've been seeing for the last 2.5 years.
I'm just going to say, add on to that, from our conversational approach here.
Yeah.
So when I first started On Place, I remember one of my very first meetings where I was going to be in the room with a lot of smart people. Most of them were men. And I had been in the industry for almost 20 years at that point, 15, 18 years. And I was very accomplished, and I had done a ton of things, but it was still a little nerve-wracking, right? Walking into that room for the first time. So I just love what your organization's doing.
Yeah. I'm going to back us up a little bit. I know you mentioned, Erica, you started in this industry 14 years ago. What we've found is everyone we talk to, nobody thinks they're going to end up in land development, right? In our industry, people kind of stumble their way into it. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that from you. I know you've worked in so many elements of it: acquisition, sales, marketing, all of it. And then, of course, what brought you to creating Ladies in Land?
Yeah, it's great that you brought that in because Monica mentioned the whole marketing deal. Like, you usually think you're marketing. I remember when I was at one builder, they thought I was in marketing because I dressed up with the dresses and the heels and stuff. That comes from my Hooters days, but we won't talk about that.
Wait, I want to talk about the Hooters days. Whoa.
No, but I'll say just a little blip because someone had brought it up actually recently. It's been a long time, almost like 16, 20, like 20. Well, I say 16, 20 years since I was a Hooters girl, but I was a Hooters girl for 6 years. One thing I really liked about the company in itself, which sounds weird, is that they were big about presentation and about your appearance and also about how you make people feel, and they're very big about customer service stuff. So I learned a lot in my days there. I took it a completely different route than other people, but I really thought that company was interesting, and they helped build a lot of different qualities in myself. But to that point, my degree's in marketing. I've never been in, well, I say I was in strategic marketing, but still never in I call it frou-frou marketing role, which I think is fun, the creative side. But I did sales out of college. I got into strategic marketing with Taylor Morrison when I needed the weekends off. And I love the competitive side. So they asked me to do it. That's kind of what led into land, because technically strategic marketing for a builder is land. It just kind of sits between marketing and land, or sales and land. But I did that, and I ended up getting into land because I call him a good friend, because I say he's a good friend, a good colleague, Chris Chu. He's over at Ashton Woods as a division president now. But Chris and I were having coffee back years ago, and he had taken a division president role with Centric Communities. And he says, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, I don't know. These are my skill sets. Where do you want me? I just want to work with you. And he was like, what about land? I'm like, okay, what about land? I didn't know anything about it. And he was like, yeah, I think you could be really good at land. So he put me as a land analyst. And it was easy. To me, I thought it was easy, the job itself, because at the end of the day, you're structuring contracts, you're hobnobbing, you're getting it's sales for land.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more complicated than your typical sales role in new home building. So I really liked that because I was being challenged. I would say I failed miserably with him only because they needed a land development person too, and land ac and dev are two different things. And so I failed pretty quick. But I love land. I absolutely think it's a fascinating job, being able to conceptualize putting the dirt to a community. I never feel like I'm working. And ever since I got into it, I mean, I'd spend weekends out in communities looking at amenities, kind of like where your focus is, making a
Yeah.
community very nice for your residents. I just love the overall process. And what got me into, over these years, what got me into wanting to do Ladies in Land was years ago. There is a lot of guys. I have a lot of great male mentors that have been very supportive. But I just felt like, when we get into the room, whether it's with a home builder or a developer or anything, you are surrounded by a lot of guys. I'm not intimidated because I play cards, pool, darts, like all the guy stuff. But it's just a matter of I noticed that I had to know more. I didn't know my stuff. I was constantly having to prove myself in the room, even though I knew what I was doing, or I may have had the same kind of smarts as my male counterpart. I still had to know more because it's just inherently, I think they're not, people aren't used to females being in the room. So they want to make sure you know your stuff. And I went to different organizations and nobody was really focusing on that. And I'd even ask, I'd be like, hey, can we do some education stuff? And they're like, oh, we'll get to it later. But everything for women has been so focused on the social piece. We got that down pat. We know how to socialize like
Yes, we
nobody
We
else.
do.
do.
But when you look at, and even on the social front, when you look at how women socialize versus how men socialize, men will, because men are very, I call it simplistic, which I like sometimes, but they put social and business together. Women are like, man, I've got so much going through my head. I want my kids over here. I want my females over here, my friends over here. I want my work over here. So women tend to compartmentalize that and don't mesh them together. And so if you go to social setting, you'll see it. We don't always talk business, and we need that business component because we need to be able to learn. So
Yeah.
when I didn't see it anywhere else, I said, well, good, well, screw it. I guess I could do it. And I didn't really know.
I guess I'll put the team on my back.
Yeah.
Mm. I mean, it started out at first me putting people together. I have a lot of contacts. I love what I do, and again, it doesn't feel like work. I just absolutely love what I do. So I just started putting people together. I was like, all these different variety of roles in land development. Put us in a room, and I was like, that went well. Okay, what's the next step? And then I was like, let's do lunch and learns. And then the lunch and learns were such a hit that I was like, okay, that's all we're doing, just focusing on lunch and learns. And it's just been a process from, it's been almost 3 years now. So 2.5 years ago, starting from that to lunch and learns to expanding the lunch and learns and going, wow, have we thought about national, like really making this a national deal? And, anytime that you do something and you want to expand, it has to be a business. So then finding the
Mm-hmm.
business element to this so that we can support expansion, it's really kind of cool. And so now we're almost in 21 cities. We've got 3 cities, that 2 cities are going to come out in March. The other one will probably come out in April. So put us at 21. I have no doubt in my mind we'll hit 35 by the end of the year, and that's my goal. But then also looking at what is the next step, and we've got the next step is going in the university system and providing a feeder program and visibility to land, because like you said, it's really, we stumble in it, or somebody says, hey, why
Yeah.
didn't you think of that? We just won't think of it. We're I thought marketing, because hell, marketing's fun and it's cool, at college. But if I knew about land, I mean, I would have jumped into it. I just didn't know about it. And so that's the point of the university system. Now, I have found over the last few months, I said, hey, we're going to launch in March, which coincides with our app launch. But it is a little bit more tricky because you have to jump through a lot of hurdles with the school system. So I've got that. I've got a lot of interest. So it will come out this year. It's probably going to be delayed by maybe a quarter. But you've got that. And now I'm like looking at some other avenues like Dudes in Development, which we can talk a little bit about, which is education for guys. But these are a lot of crazy things and it's all exciting. So
Yes, you're hitting us with so much stuff. I'm like, wait, I have a question about that. I have a question about that. But awesome. Okay, so I'm going to back us up a little bit again, one more time. Like, if you are talking to maybe someone my age, right, who's newer to the industry, and I learn about Ladies in Land, what would be your 2-sentence elevator pitch for it? Like, what is it?
So it's funny, we actually cater more to people that are new in the industry or that are younger that are, again, new in the industry.
Which
You
makes
know,
total sense to me because, like, if I actually need to join. I need to learn. I have so
yeah.
much to learn. You know, if I knew about this earlier, I can see how that would be
Yeah,
more towards
appealing.
younger people. Yes.
Yeah. So what's appealing to the younger generation or to somebody that's new into the industry is that we offer a variety of different kind of educational opportunities. We do once a month education settings. We are going to bring in some social too. You're meeting a variety of different folks, not just one siloed department, which is very common. AC usually talks to AC. Maybe they talk to Dev, but they don't talk to the wastewater treatment plant people. So this you get a well-rounded approach. We offer courses and certifications. We're having our first PE credits go out in Raleigh next week. I'm really excited about
Wow.
that. Yeah, and so, for someone
I'm
that's
sorry.
new,
What's PE credits?
professional education, isn't that what it
Oh,
stands
okay.
for? Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
it's
so.
Just
useful
making
for
sure. But if I had a question, maybe somebody listening would have that
Callie's
same
like,
question.
wait, you're giving physical education?
Yeah, no, literally. I'm like,
I mean, and I'm not an engineer, so which I actually think it's interesting. I'm going to take it a different route mid to late year because I think it's crazy that as an land act person, which I've been doing since 2017, I've never been held to a standard of getting the credits, which I don't. I think we need to. I think to
Right.
be better land people, we need to have a playbook, and that's what we're going to be focusing on too. Is providing a playbook so that when they go to a builder or go to a developer, you can say, what are you learning here? But the PE credits in general in the engineering world, that's been a standard. They have to have these credits to just make sure that they know what they're doing. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see if I mean, we're already doing education. So we're actually meeting those credit needs. And that was a 2026 initiative. And I'm very excited to like roll it out through all the chapters, but we're starting in Raleigh next week and then going that route. But again, for someone that's new, I mean, the best thing you can do, you're coming into a field, you're new, you're learning, this gives you not only people to ask questions from and to feel comfortable in a space that is women driven. So a lot of times women feel uncomfortable when they get into this setting at work because they don't want to lose their job or they don't want to seem like they incompetent. And so this gives you a safe place to ask those questions, but then also a variety of different learning activities. And so it's really good. Even for the seasoned person, I've learned so much this last year.
Yeah. So, you talked about your pillars for Ladies in Land. So, education, partnerships, inclusion. What are you really hoping that your members take away from Ladies in Land? What's that one thing?
Yeah, the number one thing that I want somebody to take away from is confidence, to be honest with you. Growing this has been such an eye opener. I find myself constantly having to get women to build confidence. And I say women, our leaders. That is the one thing that I would say is that, we've got these really strong women that said, "Hey, I want to lead." And they're great at their job, but some of them will get scared about like asking somebody to invest in them for a sponsorship, which is an investment. So like the WNBA, our coach brought this up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, I should have thought of this. But she goes, like the WNBA, great women doing basketball and stuff out there, but they don't get as much investment as the men because of the fact that the turnout and the return on the investment dollars. And a lot of times, when I look at this, I go, telling the women, hey, go out, talk about what we do. We provide a lot of value to not only you, but the businesses that are investing their members, their employees, but then to also the business that say, hey, I would like to have a partnership and get people to see my company and possibly do work with me. And that we're a great investment. So but that confidence, I noticed every time I do anything in this organization, it comes back to that. It's always coming back to that. And I won't call out this one chapter leader, but I'm so proud of her. And I just told her yesterday because she was this close to quitting this close to quitting, and she stuck it out and she's pushing, and now she's got meetups, she's got some sponsors, she's rolling out some really cool stuff, and I'm like, I'm really proud of you. Your confidence is building and you're accomplishing so much. And what I'd like to see, what I'm going to go to get my steak dinner at the end of the year is when I see this particular girl, and she probably doesn't know this, but when I see her on fire by December, because I know she'll get there and feeling good. That's what I want to see.
I love that.
Love that.
And so much about confidence, so much of confidence comes from modeling, right? So maybe
Yeah.
not everybody has the modeling they need at whatever company they're at. So if you're in an organization like Ladies in Land, you can see somebody that's more similar to you do something and be like, oh, I can do that too. So I love that. Structurally, Ladies in Land, I know you said you're in 21 cities now, right? Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
21-ish,
take,
two more
yeah.
coming, give or take, two more coming. Structurally, talk to us about what that looks like. So there's a chapter lead in each city, and then what happens underneath there.
So we have a chapter lead and a co-leader typically that opens up. In some cases, maybe 3, but it's usually a couple people. And then we started implementing committees, which I think every organization does. But taking some advice from other people that have done this. But you've got a memberships lead for a committee, you've got a sponsorships lead, and then we have our university lead. We've got a few different leads, but every chapter is a little different. We try to row in the same, I always call it row in the same direction, because I think as what makes us really successful is the fact that we all band together. And it gets challenging at times, because a lot of times chapters, people want to do different things, but it's like, hey, if we band together, we're a lot stronger. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to elevate women. We have to be strong. So, but when you have a chapter leader that takes ownership in it, they want that ownership, they want that visibility. We're giving them the tools to get there. We might have to push them too at the same time, but if they're ready for it, we'll get them all the tools to succeed, and then have a couple co-leaders under them, and then the committees. It's good stuff. It's working. There's some
Yeah.
our chapter in Dallas, thriving. She's Kelsey Taylor. She's with ABHR, and they're at a law firm out here in Texas. And she does really well. She doesn't even want to give it up. She's like, I love it. I was like, well, you don't hoard it. But and then we got a lead out in Nashville, Kim Storch. I mean, she's with Pulte, and I've noticed a theme now with Pulte. I've seen 3 Pulte people being amazing. I don't know what they're doing over at Pulte. They got something in the water over there, because she's amazing, and a few other Pulte people are amazing. And then there's a girl that's relatively new that I'm just, again, so impressed. Casey out in South Florida. She's amazing. And she's with Meritage, but she just kicks ass, takes names.
Cool. Is
Love
there a
it.
chapter in Sarasota yet?
They're at Tampa. Isn't Sarasota outside Tampa? We have Tampa.
Oh, right. You've spoken
Yeah.
at it, I think.
No, not yet.
No, I
She
spoke in
spoke at
Orlando.
Raleigh.
Oh,
And-
okay.
and Orlando.
Did you go to Raleigh too, though? Yeah, Orlando.
I did
and
go to Raleigh. Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
Some people get to make their way around like Monica.
Some people just be special like that.
I got a guy that's gone to like 5 or 6, and I hit him up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, Phil, come on. I go, what are you like hoeing around our chapters? But you know what it is? But you know what it is? Super nice guy, super intelligent guy. But he loves investing in women. He has a daughter. And he's like, he loves investing in women and educating them. And he said it's been really great for him too, and visibility. And so that's what I think is interesting. We are a great firm, not only to educate our women, but then also to come back and invest in, whether they're investing their time or investing dollars, because at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yes. And I know Monica talked about your 3 pillars, and I listened to you on April Lamont's podcast from Alisant, Communities Connected. You were wonderful there. Shout out to that podcast too.
Yeah,
and you
she's
talked about
great.
your 3 main, you talked about your pillars: education, which we've talked about a lot in this episode already, partnerships, which we'll get to, but inclusion also. So anybody can join these Ladies in Land chapters, right? It's not like you have to be of a certain title, status, anything like that.
Anybody can join, and then land dev. And I encourage to look. Yeah, I just want to, right now at this point, we are going to make some changes, but it hasn't been announced yet, because we're still thinking through how that works, because it's so special right now. Anybody that touches the land development process. So sometimes I'll get like landscapers. They're like, but we're in land development. I'm like, actually, no, but you are assisting us, because it's anybody
Yes.
who is going to help a project, conceptualize it and get it off the ground, because is that we have to learn. If we don't do our job well, the project never comes to fruition, and then nobody else has work. And so, but yeah, I mean, if I don't see the analyst in the room, or if I don't see that coordinator, I mean, this is really, a lot of it is so that they can feel comfortable coming. Because one thing I notice is that they don't always get invited to the stuff. And then you think that they don't exist, but it's like you'd be blown away when you see how many people really are in land. It's just a lot of the women have been in the lower levels and not nurtured enough to get up, or not encouraged to get up. Again, confidence. It's all about confidence and knowing to ask for that role, or that you can do that role.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And is it an application process?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways you can do it. If you reach out to a chapter leader, you just happen to know them, or you know somebody, you don't necessarily need an application, but if you go to the website, you can apply. So a lot of
Got
people
it.
will go and apply. We've had, I think, 1,200 submissions of the application since we put the application in place. And the application, this current one, went in place around April or May. So just from April or May, we've had 1,200 submissions, which is incredible. To me, it's incredible. I love
Wow,
seeing it
that's
grow.
incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been really cool. But yeah, you see all kinds of people, and you should see some of the stuff they say. It's very moving.
I love it.
And you mentioned coaching. Is that part of your program?
Yeah, so actually our executive coach speaks in like 2 hours. So Allison William donates her time. She's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. She's been in the space for a long time as a recruiter and as a coach, and she decided to just have all of her efforts coaching. And so like she even coaches me. I call her all the time crying, it's really difficult because I don't know what to do. And I
Yes.
tell everybody I do the wrong things all the time, and I'm still learning to be the best leader I can be, because I have really high expectations for myself. So I tend to put it on others. But either way, yeah, she donates her time once a month to all of our Ladies in Land members. And the last time I checked, I think it was 2 days ago, we had 60 people sign up for the call today. I would love to see that number pushed up, because this is something that's not uncommon for women to do. If you go around and look, a lot of the meetups that have been happening for a long time are all really soft skill stuff. I focus on hard skills. I want us to focus on hard skills in person, and the soft skills behind the scenes, because I think we can open up a lot more whenever it's in a safe environment. I think you got to look at both. But she's here for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something we do here at On Place as well. So we have a coach that we coach our entire team, all 110 employees, through group coaching, through resilience. And we are, like Callie said, 95% women, right? And encouraging our employees, it's not mandatory, but encouraging them to show up and take part of the program, because it's something that's super valuable when you lean into it.
Something that had, we got to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Women are highly emotional. That's not going away. Okay. I think it's a good thing that
I was
we
going to
have a
say, I think
variety
it's a
of
good
different.
thing.
It's not a
Yeah.
negative thing, but
No.
at the end of the day, when your emotions aren't controlled and we let it affect, decision making that could potentially get us to that next career level, or get us that deal, or whatever it is, which that is something we have to be cognizant of. That's when it's a problem. And so that I look at it, one of them 3 months ago, this girl came in and she was like, I'm getting a promotion and I don't want it. So that's where the coaching really is beneficial. She didn't want it because she didn't want to be the manager. She just wanted to do her job, and she liked what she did. And then there's other times where, you have a boss that you're just not driving with, and you got to talk through that, because at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Quit and then go to the next one? You're going to find the problem everywhere. So it's,
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with you, Monica. I do the same thing. I encourage the chapter leaders to go. We get just for the chapter leaders themselves, get a coaching call. And I'm like, discuss anything, any of your issues, anything, so you can recognize it and then overcome it, and you can feel confident about that you have the right answer.
Last two logistical questions, because I want to make sure anyone listening to this who's interested is getting their questions answered like I am. So membership cost, and then also, what if I don't have a chapter where I live?
So membership right now are $100, but we are actually increasing our price to 180 starting March 1st. It's about to, I think we got it going out on the website, should be here any day. And I think on Monday it's going on LinkedIn. But that's something that we had been looking at because of our value and how our value is increasing, and then our chapters are increasing, and overhead and all that stuff. So all the fun stuff. But I mean, it's really, we still have a really affordable price when we look at this compared to any other organization, and what you get for, say, $180. I mean, you get courses. Oh God. I mean,
Is that per
but see,
year?
that's
Like
per
because
year.
you said
Yeah.
$180 per year.
Per year.
I mean,
Yeah. It's
that feels very
Doable.
doable and not
Fair.
Yeah, it
And
feels
it
fair.
feels fair.
Feels fair.
Well, you'd be surprised when I started this, because my background's pricing and positioning. That's strategic marketing, was pricing and positioning, and so I looked at it and I go, "Oh, what do I price it at?" And look at everybody else, and at the time we had nothing other than our lunch and learns, and so I charged, it was at $10 a month. If you wanted, I wanted two options for single moms. I was a single mom, so it's $10 per month or $100 a year, and I would get the weirdest questions of people like, "Why do you need the money?" And I'm like, well, I mean, I was kind of thinking about growing, but that's kind of a crazy idea. So, but at the end of the day, also one of the things that I tell the chapter leaders that I've had to coach them on is, guys, you are worth something. You are of value, and when you go to say a Land Advisors event or a Biz Now event, Biz Now was yesterday in Houston. They're charging 150, $100. Nobody thinks 2 seconds of it. The guys, right there. Why are we as women sitting there questioning $100 a year for education? You get free food, you get courses. Why are you not valuing yourself what you should, like a diamond? Why are you valuing yourself like the dollar menu? It's really interesting. I haven't talked
Mm.
about this. Now, great, it's kind of the podcast, but that's something I wanted to tackle at our first conference next year. So our first conference is going to be in April, in Nashville in 2027. But at the end of the day, it's just, I don't think us women were thinking about that and how we're positioning ourselves. And so when I talked about this to the chapter leader at Nashville last year, and she started thinking about it because she had women going, "Hey, can I just try you out?" They would go once or twice, and I'm like, they're getting a free lunch. Hell, I go to lunch and pay more than this, and I don't get education. And so when she changed her mindset, all of a sudden she saw a huge difference. And I'm like, so the money itself, it's nothing. I mean, I say nothing, but it's minimal compared to what we put in it. And I constantly think, what more can we add to make it even more valuable for that price? So that's what I focus on. But also the other piece, what was the other question? Forgive me, I get on
If
these
I don't
tangents.
have a chapter in my city.
Chapter. So if you don't have a chapter in your city, please reach out to us at, you can do memberships at Ladies and Land. You can do sponsorships, info at Ladies and Land. We'll all get it. There's, now I just hired 3 new people in the last 4 weeks. And I know I can hear Monica going, "What were you thinking?" So I didn't get any sleep last night. It's very difficult.
It's
Yes.
stressful. It's a whole business now.
Well, it's what the stressful piece was. I said, "Oh, I'm going to hire these people, and then they're going to help me out. Like, I'm going to get the help, and now I'm not working from 4 to like 10 o'clock at night." But I forgot about the training piece. I'm like, then I got to train them
Right.
on all the systems, and I'm like, oh crap, it's still hard.
Eric and
Yeah.
I have had many conversations over the training and the coaching and all
I
that
can
stuff.
imagine. I even had that in my notes. I'm like, I imagine there's so many similarities between the two of you and what you're experiencing, owning, and starting a
Monica's
business on
been
your
a
end.
big
And
help, and I still need to call her.
she's good at that
Yes,
stuff.
yes. I like when Erica calls, I pick up.
Yeah. Monica
appreciate
is
it.
honestly at her best functioning wise, though, when like there are a billion things happening and a trillion answers that need to be given and decisions that need to be made. Like when there's not that happening, you're like,
Yeah, when
well,
it's-
something's wrong.
Right. Like when things are like really calm, I'm like, wow, this is so boring.
Yes.
I need
I'm
more.
the same way.
I need more.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's
Oh my
funny. I'm the
gosh.
exact same way. Although it is a little stressful right now, only because I'm moving. And I've
So is
lived in Houston.
Monica. What's going on with you guys?
But I'm
You're-
not moving across the country
Okay, that's
or
true.
halfway across the
That's
country.
true. She
But I
doesn't-
just
Oh,
moved
yeah.
down the street. So just bought a new house.
Oh, well, I mean,
so.
you're still putting stuff in the van.
Yes, yes. It was a long process. And let me just tell you, do not travel the day before the movers show up. Okay. So I had to fly out to Dallas and I got
okay,
home
well, I'm
late
kinda
on a Thursday
traveling.
night.
I come in
You
on
are already
Thursday.
traveling. Yes.
Yeah, I come in
So-
on Thursday after a wedding, and we're leaving the Friday.
Yeah, that's
Like,
okay. So I had to travel.
I don't learn.
I know. I did the same thing. I went to Dallas for like 28 hours, came back, and the mover showed up the next morning, and I'm like,
Okay, here we go.
Here, take it.
That's why I'm a halfway pack, or I would say I'm probably 3/4 of the way pack. I got all the furniture that I don't want out because we were combining stuff, me and my boyfriend, fiance. Well, yeah. So anyway, I'm
Yeah.
excited. But
Very
either
fun.
way, yeah, I just got engaged in December, so I'm excited. But anyway,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, it's been 10 years. I was like, I got divorced 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, what the heck is this guy? It's just, I mean, I created a dating app, found nobody, created Ladies in Land, and oh my God, I found somebody. So I was like,
You just needed more
crazy.
women in your life to find the right man.
It's nuts when you're not thinking about it. But either way, he's amazing, absolutely amazing. But
Good.
I've got the boxes will be all set. We go for a wedding on Sunday, 2 Sundays from now, and then we get back and then we pack it up and head to
Head
Florida.
on
The
out.
only but
Yep.
I will say, because this is something that nobody's really thinking about. I talk all the time. We silo ourselves in our job locally, and that's been, I call it the old way of thinking. I wanted to establish a new way of thinking, going, why aren't we thinking national? Why aren't we sharing news nationally? Because things really are just tweaked from city to city. I mean, they're all very similar sometimes, depending on the terrain and whatnot, and then just how we're raised. But when you do this stuff nationally, like right now, I can go to Florida, and I already have people I know now. And before I couldn't do that so easily. And so people are really good at their jobs, but the thing that's kept a lot of them back is that their network, and then knowing the local municipalities and how they're structured. We're bringing light to all of that in a really interesting environment. And I don't see enough people really utilizing that yet, but it's coming. Because at the end of the day, that is the future. And if you're not growing like that, you're still local. But if you're not tapping into other cities or even understanding what's going on a national level, you're really missing out. And then you're missing out on potential job opportunities.
Yeah,
So,
and nothing else if it's even just for the education, right? Learning
the
what other
education's
markets are doing.
amazing.
And yeah, and so, here at On Place, we are dialed in across the country because we know that we need to be doing that, right? We know that we're working all over the country. So I
Yeah.
love that you pointed that out because it is important. And, I always say like people are the same pretty much everywhere you go. There's little regional differences, that type of thing. And places are pretty much the same, but there's regional differences. And it just makes you better at your job when you understand those.
I
That's
agree.
also, yes, and a perfect transition to talk about partnerships that Ladies in Land has right now. So which ones do you want to talk about, Erica?
Well, so right now we have two big ones. So we have our Zonda partnership, which has just been amazing. I've known Zonda for a long time. I did have my hand in a job with Zonda recently, but because of the move and I'm too busy, I just couldn't do it, and I feel bad. But either way, they're amazing with analytics and data, and I will always tout them. So that we have that partnership with them, and then we have a new partnership with CCMC. And the reason I wanted to structure a partnership with an HOA management company, a great one like theirs, is because I've noticed for years, and I'm sure Monica, you guys probably have seen it too, the HOA landscape is changing. And as far as what people want and how they live in their communities, and we're still doing things like the old way, and it's causing a lot of headaches, a lot of land plan changes, a lot of different things, a lot of extra costs that are unnecessary. A lot of homeowners really really stepping up and complaining even more than they used to. So I wanted some education around that, and so the partnership with CCMC just got started. I don't have a firm date on when we'll have courses from them, but we will have courses teaching us and our members about the different layers and processes in HOA, so that they can be more informed of like where they sit with their role inside this process and how can they be effective, so it doesn't again negatively affects them or their community or whatever we're trying to tackle.
That
So
is huge.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Such
huge.
such a value add for people
Yes.
to be able to learn those things. Again, something I would have loved to receive. I've had to learn
Me too.
everything I know about HOA from Monica, of course, and just being on site at these communities and failing and making a mistake and having to learn. But if somebody were to be like, here's the basics of how this functions and works, that's awesome that you're building that partnership with them.
Yeah.
That's going to make our lives easier. I'm
Yes.
just saying.
Yeah.
That's going to make our lives easier
Oh my
for me
God.
when I'm working with people from, our clients, and like, a lot of times I'm explaining how it works. And so it's going to be nice when, they already have the knowledge
If
behind
there's
it.
a resource,
Yeah.
we can even be like, a perfect thing for you to give your team right now is a
Right.
membership to Ladies in Land and go take this course.
Yes.
So when you think about it and the kind of like how I sold it, so I'm like, I'm not huge, and I've told people I'm not huge on being out of college for 5 years or whatever, and then going back and get your master's just so that you can move up in the ranks. I mean, because I
Yeah.
feel like your best education after you've spent time out of college is on site, is in person. And I feel like that's where the value lies. It's not that saying that, I want to demean a master's degree or anything. I just think it's more valuable when the student is in the environment at that moment in time. And I feel like the future is really on-site training and courses from people like Monica, from people that are in the field that could say, hey, I've made this mistake. Because what you can't learn in college is you can't learn the different personalities in the municipalities and stuff. And that's really what's affecting us, is all of the different people we work with, and then all the different changes. And so either way, I
Retweet.
look at I look at what we're doing as a master's degree on steroids at a for way affordable cost, on better terms, and time for people that have families, that have kids, husbands or whatever. And so I like that part the most. And I just keep thinking, what else can we add? I mean, we're gonna do PE credits, and what else can we add? And I would like to see something from maybe an attorney or a wastewater treatment plant. There's something in there. And so I'm constantly feeling it out. What can we add that people are already doing, probably for their teams, but maybe they're open to sharing. And then, we could do a partnership or whatever, how they want to structure it. But it's really just creating more win-win scenarios for everyone.
I love that.
Love that.
Okay, so you teased dudes in development.
I knew you'd bring that up.
What you got for
Yeah.
us on that?
So it's kind of funny, and I had to be really careful about this because at the end of the day, when you focus on women, I don't never want a female. I mean, hell, I'm female. I don't want a female to say, "Wait a second," but they have their thing, and I don't. This is my thing, and it's not fair or whatever ends up coming out of it. But what happened is, I let guys in. In 2024, I let a few dribble into some of our meetings because they loved it, and they wanted to access in Houston. I stopped letting the guys in whenever we expanded because, Houston, we were so big that I was like, okay, we can do that. But I didn't understand how to do it going forward. So I did like, they could come in via internet, but nobody really did. And we just keep getting more influx of people applying, guys applying, going, I don't want to be a male land patron. It's not that they don't want to support us. They're like, they want to learn. And then I meet these guys that are like, oh, this is really cool. We need to have a guys thing. And what really kind of put me on this path was in Christmas time. I was talking to a head over at HR Green, which is an engineering firm. And he said that he was talking to his board, and one of the board members jokingly goes, "Hey, we should just create a dudes in development, ha 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 ha." And we laughed about it. And then we got off the phone, and I was like, that's pretty catchy. I was like, that's really catchy. I went on GoDaddy. I was like, I'm buying it. And so I was like, if anybody's going to do this, it is going to be a female.
Right.
Again, we're badass. But, I have, again, all the people that I can attribute a lot of my success to are men. I think men are very supportive, extremely supportive.
Absolutely.
I haven't really met, maybe one in the industry out of like 1,000, and that one that wasn't great. But other than that, most of the guys have been just super amazing, and they want to help us. But they also need a place for mentorship and for growing as well. They, as much as we think they have a place, they really don't. Now, do they have a lot of the spots at the table? Yeah, just because of how the industry has been. But we're helping women, and we'll continue to help women. But the guys need a place too, and they're going to create it. It is coming. And when I tell a lot of women, say, as much as like you may not like the idea, to say that that's not coming is insane. They see what we're doing. They want it. They want it too. So we do. With dudes in development, I had kind of planned on it when I was thinking about it in December. I was like, oh, maybe later in the year. but it just is coming way too fast. The more people I talk to, the more it comes up in conversation. And so the idea is to go ahead and roll it out Houston and Jacksonville here in the next few months. I've got speakers lined up. I mean, yeah, it's just getting the group together. But the one thing I will say, and the females need to understand, is that we're all a team. We're all working toward the same goal, which is delivering a great community and building better cities. That is the goal. We work hand in hand alongside each other. But at the end of the day, if women are not taking education seriously, guys are. And if you want to be the best for your company or be the best for yourself and for the city that you're building, you got to educate yourself. So if we don't focus on that, the guys will, and they will continue to be 80% of the room. Period. So
Well said.
the
Full
thing that
stop.
the thing that I'm hearing the most from regionals and from higher ups and company heads, they're all saying that land professionals are lacking training. All land professionals. So again, we've been doing the women for a while. I love it. But dudes in development is going to be, their guy version of basically ladies in land, and how they run it is how they run it. I'm not running it. I'll get the chapter leaders just like ladies in land, but I really hope too that this empowers women to take this even more seriously than before. I mean, a lot of women are taking it seriously, but even more seriously, because at the end of the day, we all need to be educated. So again, that we can compete. I love competition. Friendly
Yes.
competition.
Well, I
Let's
have a
shove
little
their
bit of
faces in the dirt. Kidding.
I have a different
kidding.
view of dudes in development because I'm a mom of two boys. And I
Yeah,
love the
I'm a boy.
fact that at some point, as they grow up, maybe they could be dudes in development because, hopefully they take over the company at some point. But
They're
they'll
going
want
to need
to.
training.
They're going to need
and
training.
They're going to
Yeah, I
need,
mean,
yeah.
they need the mentorship. So what I heard from a lot of, especially younger guys in their 20s, is that they operate. The 20-year-olds operate differently than I'm 40, 42, but 40 plus. They all they would stay at their companies for a long time, really get that good feel of somebody older helping them out, but that's just not happening. And is not going to happen. There's a lot of, I call it instability, with divorce rates and stuff, in just a lot of moving around, and young people, they want to be able to move around. They love it. And so for us, we have to embrace that lifestyle, or just that mindset. And if you're going to do that, then you have to have a place for them to go and educate themselves so they can learn those issues. And they also have to have a place for them to meet other men that can help pass that down and mentor them. So this is what this is going to do. A lot of guys are really excited about this. I've got older men excited about mentoring. I've got younger men excited about having a place to go. It's slightly different than the women, but it's still very similar. So I'm curious to see how it goes. And because we're in so many cities, literally, I think every city I've been in, I've had guys helping me.
Yeah,
So
of course.
I think this is going to catch on a lot faster. As far as it growing, it's going to catch on a lot faster. But I don't want to put how many chapters. Like I said, for Ladies in Land last year, 20 chapters. I'm not going to say that for Dudes in Development because it is all new. But I say, I bet at the end of the year we'll be somewhere around 15, at least 15. But
So cool.
We'll see.
Really big,
Awesome.
big things
Oh,
happening
but
for Ladies in
Big
Land in
things, big
2026.
things. Okay, so Erica, we are to our last question. And the last question we ask all our guests is the title of the show. So Smith Lane, it's where I grew up. It's where I learned community. It's a little dirt road in Northeast Alabama. And so what I want to know is, what is the thing or place that gives you the most intense feeling of community? What's your Smith Lane?
Oh my gosh. And this is what's making me sad right now, being around, whether it's a networking session or whatever, being around the other land development professionals in the industry. I'm actually pretty sad that I'm moving because they're my friends. I call them my friends, my colleagues, my mentors, people I trust, I care about. That gives me the most sense of community is when I'm around them. And I haven't had a chance to be around a lot of them for a while because I've been so busy growing this thing. And so it makes me sad, but it really makes me sad now that I'm moving. I'm getting a lot of people calling me And like even right now, I'm in EHRA, it's an engineering firm here in Houston. I said, "Hey, can I borrow your conference room?" I've had nothing but support from builders, developers, and that support, that community is the most important thing. And so yeah, this would be my Smith Lane.
Ah,
I
love
But
that.
you can create your next Smith Lane wherever you're moving next.
I'm
Yes.
gonna create in Jacksonville, but I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm gonna bring it this there. I don't know what they have, but I will find a way and do it
You
there.
will.
And so I am excited about the next chapter. But still, it's sad, it's not, when you look at all the different developers and the people you work with and you grow with, and there's so many amazing people here in Houston. I mean, Ryan Day over at Meritage, or not Meritage, he's not Meritage anymore, he's at Ashton, but Ryan Day is amazing. Chris Chu, Jim Zimmerman, like just some amazing, and then you got the females, you got Becky Ullman and some really amazing females, Julie Peak. Yeah, it's just sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
How
nobody
special
nobody
that
knows
where
it.
you are currently, though, and the base in which you've built Ladies in Land is your Smith Lane. Like, what a great
Yeah.
foundation to start on. That's really special. That's really
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, no, I'll look back and I'll be like, "Oh, yeah, that's right." But, like, right now, as you know, when you're growing a company or growing, because an organization's a company, it's like I'm just steamrolling always forward. But, yeah, no, this is special, and every time I see somebody post something about Ladies and Land and knowing that it was nothing 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, it's exciting. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's been
Well,
great. It's a great
Erica,
experience. You guys are welcome to join me if you like.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be up to, I come up to Jacksonville typically once a quarter, so I'll be seeing you
Please let me know when you're there.
soon.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. I will. So,
And congratulations on all of your
Congratulations.
success. You are doing
yes,
such
on the
amazing
engagement,
work.
on your success, like
I
we
really
are.
appreciate that.
I'm really, just so thrilled to be part of Ladies in Land and had the opportunity to speak and all that. So thank you for all of those opportunities. So thank you for being here today.
No, I thank you guys too, and keep doing what you're doing. You need
you.
more visibility to everything.
Yes.
I'm going to
yes.
go join Ladies in Land right after this.
Yes, please do.
You get my
Please do.
$180.
Please do.
Hey, just
All right,
also
Erica.
within that $180, that's any city, by the way. So just know that you're
Okay.
not capped at one city.
Look
Here
at
we
that.
go.
Because some of us travel to a lot of different cities,
Yes.
as Erica's already said.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, good
Bye,
luck with the
Erica.
move.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Have a good Friday. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye bye.